Well, I haven't got long, so I'm going to do a quick recording on this one so I can put it to bed, because obviously Cyrus doesn't want to be massively involved in this. So, like, that is his main bottom line on this. And I've stuck to this, whether you believe it or not, Cyrus. I've stuck to that. And so this will be the only video on this, unless you want a conversation about it. Because as I've said before, and I've said this to my attackers, your friends, many times, if they've got a problem with me, they can just address it on a panel with me or shut the fuck up, right? So I'm up for the discussion, right? We'll watch this little interaction, and what happened there, in my opinion, was a clear illustration of conflict, a conflict in someone with that sort of mindset, maybe. And that's it. So I'm looking at this from the point of view. So this guy, the backstory of this guy is that we all got to know this guy through, right, we all met through the Amico, and that's all going to come out when I put it all together, but we all met through this scam console, and for me, it was the whole thing, the whole psychology, the narcissist in charge. That's what attracted me in the first place. That's what attracted me to the whole thing, because I was looking at narcissism, and this was clear. So you had Tommy Tallarico, head narc, going about his business, a load of people commenting on that, a load of people buying into that, and a load of people buying into his cult as well. And then all us lot commenting on it. So there was like various levels of it, levels of little cult groups and levels of narcs. And so it just kept on going, and it's still going now. It's still going. I mean, as I've said before, the irony is that the guy, the original main troll who was trolling Tommy Tallarico for having a cult, ended up having his own cult and taking his name after Tommy Tallarico. And the only reason he changed his name was because he didn't want to be associated with some of his bullshit. Anyway, so Cyrus was one of the guys who was part of the Amico cults, one of the guys who was being trolled by Tommy and all these other people. So what Cyrus has chosen to do with this is kind of defend the people who he met as utter trolls and utter manipulators, okay? So that's not a good position to be in. I mean, I did the same thing, but I was at least on the same side as them when I met. Anyway, whatever. I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, as he would say. That's my point, was today. I mean, we'll see in a minute. Those messages, mate, were not attacking you at all to be banned like that. If you didn't want me in the conversation, you could have just said, I don't want to have that conversation anymore. You didn't have to ban me. I asked you at the beginning, and you said, yeah, I'll talk to you. And then you banned me. And I didn't even do anything. I didn't even say anything that was out of order, did I? Let's have a look, shall we? Let's have a look. Whereabouts was it? I'm assuming it's quite near the end.
Am I allowed to join this conversation?
Here we are. That perfect.
I'll tell you something. I really have no problem with you.
Right, so you've got no problem with me. I asked you if I was allowed to join the conversation, which I wasn't told I wasn't. So that's no reason to ban me, is it? So for me, it really does show that it was conflicts that pushed you in that level, because it wasn't anything I said, mate. It wasn't anything I said. Do you know what I mean? What did I say?
I've never said anything bad about you.
Never said anything bad about me. Oh, good. Yeah, me neither.
Okay, and you're free to say whatever you want to say about me.
So what are you insinuating there, mate? So you're insinuating, you're talking around the subject, your word salad, and I just wanted to clarify a few things, because prior to this, you'd been saying a bit of word salad stuff, in indicating certain things and insinuating certain things. And what that does is it obfuscates the facts, the actual facts of the event. Now, you said, you don't want to be the voice box for all this stuff that's going on, and you shouldn't be held responsible for other people. And again, putting words in my mouth. If you look at some of the few videos that I've made at the very beginning, and this is before you told me you didn't want me around, you didn't want me to This is before you told me you didn't want me to bring you into it anymore, which I respected. Although what you've just said indicates otherwise, doesn't it? Even though the facts are there, that I haven't brought you into it, right? On any streams. On any streams. Now, other people have brought you into it and asked me about you, and I have just said I'm not having anything to do with it. The only, I mean, even Albert will say, "I know you like Cyrus, but to me, you know, I'm in some ways you've got someone on the inside there. You could have it like that. You know, you've got some support somewhere else that isn't just in that echo chamber. That's a good thing, you know. Do you know what I mean? That's what networking is. That's what being friends is." And I actually took you at your word, you see, that you'd said, I'm not being held responsible for my friends and I'm not being associated with what they're doing. So I was like, okay, then it shouldn't matter then who I go and see or what I do and how that affects you. But clearly from your prejudice, from how you even received me as I've come on, I've not attacked you. So clearly that has come from somewhere and it's not come from me. So where's it come from? When you say I've been talking bad about you some places or insinuating that I have been, I'd like to see the evidence of that, because that to me seems like association. Now, I never said, never once. Now, there's a lot of people since these guys have been popping over to Evils and Ricardo's, and I've got my eye on people who have come into this situation when it was at that stage and have like gone in with that and trying not to be associated with it, but have been like going in at that level. I've got my eye on those people. I'm interested in these groups on the internet. You know, you've said, oh, you know, if this is the internet, so what do you expect? Well, again, that works both ways. And yeah, I know, that's it. I'm here to observe these groups and how they all work and how this stuff happens, which is why I'm commenting on this. One, to put my words across because I never got to, and to clarify some of the assumptions that you've made. And two, is because of this psychology archive and the stuff that I'm going to try and do later on, because this is all part of it as well. Because what you don't realise, I think, from what you were saying to me, what you never realise is what I was asking of you. Even though I've said it very clearly in the videos that I've done, I only wanted an observer. You were my only hope, mate. You really were. You don't believe it, do you? You don't believe me. You don't believe me that I've not got it in for you. You don't believe me that I actually think that you're a decent person, do you? You just, maybe, I don't know why it is, but you just don't believe that I think that you could be a decent person. And so therefore I reached out to you out of actual friendship, out of actual respect. I don't think you believe it. You think it's all play, all joke. No, mate, it wasn't. These guys, right, had pushed it, in my opinion, beyond, you know what I mean? And it's just interesting to see. It happened to me, yeah. I'm not playing the violin about that, but it was intense. It was massively intense. And what they got away with because of the situation that we were in was that there was no observers in this massive troll pit. No observers at all. But Evil at the same time was leading this double life and involving himself with you and getting you to comment publicly on that channel, which was engaging in the lowest level attacks that I had ever seen. And I'm from the troll community. I'm from the hated dungeon. And that was the worst I'd ever seen. And not just on me. And other stuff has come out of it from the other side afterwards as a result. And it's just got worse and worse and worse. Because you can say, oh, well, those guys have done something just as bad. Yeah, but again, it hadn't been pushed to that level. When I was with Evil and Ricardo, I know you're not interested in this, but just for a little bit of backstory from where I'm coming from with it, I was fighting against Dean to prevent this level of lowering of the standards. And even Dean wouldn't have gone this far. These guys have just been unbridled, completely unbridled. So I was just like, if you're going to be there on the reg, going and saying hello and all shit like that, and you've got a legit channel, then I think I was well within my rights to ask you about that, just for the observer's eyes. That's it. You didn't even have to say one thing or another, just because you were there, and with you came maybe some other eyes. Evil knew that his little reign of terror that he thought he was doing. These guys operate in the shadows. They gaslight, you know what I mean? They do all this stuff, right? So it all works on, you know how it works with even on an individual basis with two people? It's a secrecy thing. They operate in secrecy. You have to be able to say to someone, this is happening, even if it's just someone on the street. You know, that's what it got to. Even if it's just someone on the street, if it's just anybody, just a pair of eyes makes it operate differently. And that's what I did, right? And so thank you for that. That's all it was. But this, you're making a mountain out of a molehill over something here. And I came in to clarify the things that you were saying. And I got this.
And that's totally fine. On whatever channel you want to say it on, and whatever conversation or group you want to do that.
So, conversation or group. I'm just, see, this is what I'm talking about. What sort of story are you telling here? From this, you're saying that I've been, you know, you're insinuating here to your viewers. Before, this is my introduction to this, to my conversation here to these people, that I've been saying things about you, and you've reiterated that, and that I've been saying it on private groups and other channels, right? Okay, so I would like to hear the evidence. I'd like to just, in fact, don't even bother with the evidence because I know it's not there, but you can if you want. If you can find it, I'd love to see it. But what I would ask is, where did you get that information from? Because it's not, there's no evidence for it, so it hasn't happened. So either you've seen that when it's not happened, or someone's in your ear about it. And this is what I bring to about when I mention these people. Just the way I would do things is that if someone is drawing the lines in the sand and they are saying it's either them or me, and they're putting the choices and they're putting all this shit on that person. Yes, I've said a few things about what those people were doing, but that was because you were asking me why I reached out to you, right? But beyond that, I'm not sat there bitching about them, coming out with all the things they've ever done and ever said, am I? I'm not doing that. I never have done, but they have. And it feels like a bit of projection here now. What I did say about Cuya was because you were saying about weird people coming in the Discord. Are you going to blame me for that? What I will categorically say now is I don't talk in the privet very much. I've got a few people who I talk to just in DMs. There are no groups. There's a public Discord for that reason. Come and join it. You'd be more than welcome to come and join it, right? And not for any attacking reason, just because you would be welcome to come and join it. I don't know if you can believe it. It's mad. The prejudice, the presumptions and the assumptions made. And I've just got to think, like, where has this come from? This is a protective measure. And why you need to protect yourself from me, it's not me. Maybe it's because you see me, you see Albert, because I've been associated with Albert. But like I say, that'd be like me looking at you and seeing evil, which is something that you're arguing against right now. As if that's something that I've done, which I haven't. All I did was say, if you're going to come over in public and support these people who are attacking me, and you haven't got a problem with me, then can I have a conversation with you about that? I think that's fair. When did that become out of order? I've not been harassing you. I've not been bringing you up. They were the ones dragging you into it, right? And this thing with Albert did not come from me, right? And I wouldn't have even brought that up, except you've brought it up. And again, insinuating that it's come from me. Let's look at the timeline of that, shall we? No, mate, this all started well before that. And they came. It's your friends, mate. I know you're saying, oh, you know, you're trying to make me choose between this. No, mate, it's not me drawing lines in the sand. They're your mates. I'm just saying, if you're going to accuse me for that shit, actually, you know, look at it. Is it just going to be the case that these trolls who were trolling all the time and trolling you before, but now you're friends with them, and now they're attacking this woman, but this woman's a right bitch and a complete bully, and she's attacking you, you know, and she's talking about you and talking bad shit about you, and it's all about her, and it's all about their enemies being so terrible, and that they're just going to have to go on about that and on and on and on and sell that idea to you. And that seems more valid than someone who's just in the background going, excuse me, can I have a word a minute? This, what people are saying about me isn't necessarily true, but yet I'm the bloody attacker. Where's the evidence of any of it?
I want you to hear me for just a second in a sincere way.
Yes.
Okay? When you live and when I say live, when you are online and you are in very dramatic situations and in groups where people talk mad shit about other people, and when you try to come to me in a way where it felt like you were trying to turn me against friends of mine.
Wow.
That's how it felt. I'm not saying that's what you tried to do,
No.
but it did feel that way. And then I know that you went to other people who don't like me.
This is the thing.
And you tried to talk to them about that situation as well. And I don't know what your motivations for any of that were.
Where did you get that information from? Because that was not how it went down, was it? And that's not how we talked about it at the beginning. So something's changed from the last time we talked to now, when I haven't interacted with you, to change your mind on certain things. Now, I came in very openly saying what I was being very clear about all the way through, which is I need you to come and watch this. I want to know why you're supporting that behavior. I've never tried to turn anyone against anyone personally. I've only ever pointed out behavior. And it just seems like you struggle to understand that. You struggle to get your head around that, and it has to be something personal against you. Maybe because you've been attacked by other people for so long that it's somehow some personal thing against you, wanting to put you against your friends. No. You can't see it, can you? There is conflict being brought here, and it's not by me. How could I turn you against your friends? Who do you think I am? I'm just a person. Why would I want to come between you and your friends? That's an effort that's just not worth it for me. Do you know what I mean? That's like trying to... It's not how I do things, right? I don't waste effort on things like that. I don't try and get trophies, do you know what I mean? Or something like that. I'm not curious. I'm just not. I'm just trying to navigate it in the best way possible, like Occam's razor. And you were the only observer that was half decent in the entire place. That's it. And if that means, if you just come in and being held accountable for being, and that's all it was, is just taking no blame, but responsibility for your choices of the people you support, just like I take responsibility for the choices of the people who I support, right? And then publicly do that, and then all I ask for is a conversation, and you're making it into this, and you're insinuating and layering up all this stuff, but you can't see it. And it wasn't me who asked for that. They came in the next time after I started going to yours and started ingratiating themselves with you, the fair weather transactional behaviours of your friends, and then and they'll be back now, they'll be back. And I just stayed out that day, that first time. I was fine with everyone, wasn't I? I respected your house, respected your rules, and it was me and Evil, and it was fine. It was a bit of ribbing, and that was it, right? I was not the one who then pushed that conflict, that friction. I was not the one who made you choose. I was not the one who went and instigated you to talk about Albert to stir that shit up again. That was not me, mate. You might remember it differently, but that wasn't. And the evidence is there. I have got that one recorded because it was a prime example of those guys whipping someone up and getting them to do something for them. See, I'm looking at all the different ways that these cults and these groups of people get people to do things for them, as I was one of those people who it's happened to. And you've been one, haven't you, in a different one? You know, so I'm sure you understand there is an interest for this. And I see it, you know, on a very smaller scale here, being played out. And so for your role in it now, mate, is that you're the person, the decent person who's conflicted, but you're choosing, because of the amount of pressure, I would imagine, from those guys. Now, I don't want to go down your route and start assuming too much, but, you know, there's a pressure coming from somewhere. Maybe it's just through the attacks. Maybe it's PTSD, who knows? But there's some sort of pressure that's making you want to slough it all off onto me here when there isn't any evidence for that. I would like to see anything. Who have I been talking to? Remember, it would look very different if any of the things that you're accusing me of had actually happened. If I had actually sold you out, if I had been making multiple videos. The only reason I'm doing this video now is like one reaction to clarify stuff, that because there's been a lot of assumptions and I wasn't allowed to speak. But in general, I respected your choices and I never brought you into it. When people try to bring me into it over there, I was like, I wasn't into it. It's the same with someone else who I was actually going to do a reaction to tonight, well, a response to tonight, who's also doing something similar for very different reasons, who's also been whipped up by a different person to attack me because they can't do it anymore, because I said to them very clearly, if you've got something to say about me or to me, then talk to me about it on a panel, address your complaint, or shut up. Now, I appreciated that you in some way addressed your complaint with me, but it was very one-sided, and which is fair enough, it's your house, but it's not really the best way to resolve the complaint, which shows me that you don't really want to resolve it, which shows me that it's based on some sort of conflict and friction, and there's something not quite marrying up there, because you know I'm open to it. You know I'm not going to ambush anyone. You know I'm not full of shit. But I mean, maybe the fact that I'm associated with Albert or something might be enough. I mean, it wasn't me who brought that one onto your doorstep, mate, at all, by a long shot. And I continue not to bring it to your doorstep either. So no matter what you're insinuating, like I say, it would look a lot different if what they're saying and what you're saying was true.
Okay. But it definitely didn't make me feel great about the conversation.
Yeah, so you're acting on this that I actually did say something bad about you. The only thing I've said is that they go after people who are already in a cultish mind because they've already been in a cult, and so they've mined those people. So I've said, like, yeah, they've gone for you, they've gone for Retro Bro. Do you know what I mean? Because in my opinion, they are running a cult. So and I'm talking about the psychology of things. So apart from that, I'd like to see the evidence of what I've said about you that makes you want to go off like that. Now, I think I've got a point there, and you could discuss that. We could argue it, or we could just debate it. Or you could do this.
Okay? I don't know why you did that. I don't know why you chose that path with me.
What path?
You know that I don't get
Look at this ambiguous conversation. Tell me what path. Tell me who. This is what I'm talking about, Cyrus. You need to be more clear if you're going to address a complaint with me. This is far too vague, and it shows me that you're trying to sort of, like, if you're looking at the points, you know, like you're putting the points into your character at the beginning, you're kind of hedging your bets here, aren't you? You're trying to put your points into different categories, and I'm wondering what that's all about.
If you have ever watched anything I've ever done, you know that I'm not somebody who talks shit about other people. And I'm not somebody who tolerates people talking shit about other people. I don't do that. So I do have friends.
You're not someone who tolerates people talking shit about other people. Did you not say earlier that this is just the internet and what your mates do is nothing to do with you, but you'll go around there and support them anyway? And it's terrible for me to even acknowledge that, because that's asking you to turn against your friends. Isn't that what you just said? I don't understand where you're coming from, mate. I think there's a few... I'd like to know where you stand on that then. You do tolerate people talking shit on other people, or you don't? You know what I mean? Because in this environment, a lot gets accepted, doesn't it, as you well know. And the standards have dropped, haven't they, as you well know. And I tried to stop that from happening, didn't I, as you well know, and you refused to, you know, you didn't want to be part of that. So now the standards have dropped. That's nothing to do with me. I go round to those streams occasionally, yes, and Albert came onto my stream last week, yep. That's it, but again, just like you, I took a leaf out of your book, mate. Do you know what I mean? But they're just like people who I associate with. It's nothing to do with me. I don't talk shit on you. I don't talk shit on anybody, like you say. Or do I? Do you know what I mean? I'm just reacting and responding to people who are talking shit on me. Every single time. I don't. With you, you were already talking about this conversation around the subject, weaving your story, weaving your tales, weaving your environment in this soft way to make it all fit. Even before I turned up, I don't need to bring shit up, mate. I'm constantly putting fires out. Do you think I have to bring anything up or talk shit on anybody? Why would I? Why? I've got no time for this. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you actually think of it, I've really just realised what you're actually saying here. What do you think? I have got nothing better to do. Right, I came on here as a little thing. I used to go on to Darius's occasionally. Do you know what I mean? I was into the Amico. I got into the cult with Evil. He fucking, I'm not going to go into it because you don't want to hear me talk bad about your best friend. But like, grooming enough, right? Loads of shit, cult shit, right? Now we've got, I know too much, and we've got the smear campaign. It's a classic tale. Anyone who's got half a brain can fucking see it, right? And now you're telling, and they are literally attacking me to the level that I had to come and ask you to just to be at the Observer, right? To be like, come on, tell him for me, right? I wasn't even saying that, but you know what I mean? Just come and fucking watch this. Because he'll have to fucking change it up, and he did. He just had to fucking, it took a few months, but he's just having to make the environment fit the thing, and this is what this is. To my, what it looks like to me is that they put their energy into not justifying themselves. They might at first, but it's much easier to modify the environment if they can. And since it's a completely male environment, that's very easy to do, isn't it? To modify, and because I just haven't got the vested interest, as I'm trying to illustrate at the moment, I haven't got that vested interest. I could, if I went on and did a game stream every day and did what they did, then I am confident that the evidence I've got, the things I've got to say to them, the stuff I can do, the comebacks I can do on them would completely destroy anything they would do. The only thing they have is that, one, I haven't got the vested interest in it. Two, I'm not toxic enough to get that much enjoyment from doing that all the time. And three, like, I just do not have the time or the drive to do it. I've got other things to do, right? So the only thing I'm doing is putting fires out right now, right? That's all I'm managing to do. I wanted to do something a little bit more proactive today, but I can't because I'm doing this now. It's like, so it's just at that point, and I don't mind, because the only reason I'm putting fires out isn't because they're particularly effective. It's because I've just not got the time. I'm not here enough. Like, I'm just not. I'm taking 2 days off a week off YouTube. So as of like when my kid gets up, that's it. I'm not even here for 2 days. So they'll just go mad and all sorts of stuff. And I just accept it and I deal with it, right? But you're just part of the landscape, so I'm talking about it. But what you're doing is very accusatory and very singling me out. Do you know what I mean? Acting very hurt. And maybe you do genuinely feel like that, but that also, the fact that you're talking about groups and things like that, it sounds like someone's in your ear there. It sounds like someone's really feeding you a story. And it sounds like, given my experience with people with projection, that you've heard, I would say that you've probably heard that from a group, from some sort of private group, and that quite a lot of this stuff is actually projection, to be honest, because it's all over the shop all the time. But what you're saying here is that I'm going around talking shit about you, using you, throwing people under the bus, generating drama, creating toxicity, and just generally doing that, right? Okay. I urge anybody who's interested at all in this, which they're probably not, because as you can see from Cyrus, he's not interested in any of that. But yeah, anyone who's interested in that, just look at my channel. Just look at my videos. Just look. Like, I do like one drama stream every now and again. And yeah, the last one did have Albert on it, and they will have gone absolutely fucking spare about it. But just listen to it. Listen to the stream. It's nothing. And then look at their channel. Then look at Evil and Ricardo channel, the channels that Cyrus is fine about and tolerating the shit talking of others. Just go and look at those over the course of the last year, I may add. And just look at my channel. It's as simple as that. It should be obvious. They're saying, oh, you want to show like you're the holier than thou and that. No, mate. I'm just being me. And that's just my channel. How can I pretend to be holier than thou when I'm just saying, just look at my channel? That's me for the last 2 years or whatever. There's no hiding. I don't block. I've blocked a couple of people recently because it's generally Q alts because he's just harassing me. He comes out from his situation to my comments to harass me, right? Not like for any other reason. I'm just letting you know what the scope is of the place. I'm not going to their chat. I'm not going to their comments, right? So I don't know what story they're telling you or where this comes from, but it ain't the fucking truth at all.
I do have a lot of friends. CPE, I would consider you a friend, except for this weird situation.
What weird situation?
And I'm willing to just move on from that.
Okay.
Because I understand. And I told you I understood.
Well, that's good. Like well, then what's the problem?
Being said about you, and it was very unfair, and you wanted to warn me.
Then what's the problem then? If you want to move on from it and you want it to be all cool, then what's the problem then? The thing is, Cyrus, is that there have been times when I've wanted to go onto your channel, but obviously I can't because you've said you don't. I can't be over there without them guys starting shit, right? So how I can't just turn up and just be nice on your channel. We've tried that one and it didn't work because they made you talk about Albert and start a war because I went over to your channel to watch those girls dance around in fucking shell suits that time, right? So you're trying to spin that one round on me, you know? I would have loved to have moved on and been able to do that, but I couldn't, could I? Because you'd clearly stated that with me came this assumption and prejudice and hatred that you found it easier to project that to be coming from me rather than being put upon me.
About what you felt like was a bad situation, and I get that. But
I know you do.
Said your piece. I don't know why, it happened the way it did. And I've said my piece, and I've tried to explain that I don't get involved in all that weird shit.
That's fine.
This is what people try to do, because I know there are definitely people who've tried to drag me into a bunch of weird shit.
Yeah, and that's your mates who are doing that. You're trying to put that on me. Tried and tried and tried and tried. Who's tried and tried and tried and tried and tried? Who are the ones with the vested interest? Who are the ones with the nightly streams? Not me. Who are the ones bringing you into it? Not me. I openly brought you into it for a couple of videos and then I left it. But I don't know if there's been alts of me going around or what, but I'll tell you who the alt is of me. It's Q, right? And you know what it's like, and you're just willfully ignoring all of that, and you're instead going to blame it all on me, hell-bent on your destruction. Like I was going to say, my point earlier is like, why the fuck would I? I'm not one of these sad, desperate bastards who haven't got any other fucking life. Do you know what I mean? So it's like for the small amount of like pathetic content that I could create, I'm only here for a small amount of time. So it's fine. That amount is fine. But you see, those guys have to be doing it 24/7. They have to be controlling their mates and their fucking little acolytes 24/7. And the way they do that is with the hypnotoad and all the rest of it, right? So they need constant feeding. They need constant fuel. Look at my channel. Look at the number of uploads. Just look at it. It's like I'm not jonesing for content. I've got ideas up the fucking yin yang, as you can well imagine, right? I've got so much inspiration from this situation. That's why I'm here. So yeah, it wasn't a great situation, but it's not the playing the violin situation that you think it is. It's like, yes, it can be bad, and it got out of control, and that's why I wanted an observer in it. But like at the same time, I'm here because it's very, very interesting, and you learn a lot from it. So that's all my videos are about. Why would I, when I can make my own content, I can make my own understanding, I can look at any any number of streams from any number of months ago. It makes no odds to me, especially since those guys repeat their shit day in, day out. Like I'm saying, the lack of content, the lack of freshness, the lack of anything, it's just the same shit. Remember, these guys are safe state bastards as well. So it's the same shit. And it's interesting to see it shown psychologically at the same, like, it's like how they play computer games. They're safe states, they're cheesing it. You know, it's just the same fucking thing on repeat. It's as above, so below. And that is fascinating to me. So, you know, there's a lot to be got from it. But you're telling me that it's not those guys that are dragging you into it constantly. It's me. It's me, because I'm just lying about the fact that I'm a single parent. I'm just lying about the fact that I've got other shit to do all the time. And that I'm just trying to occasionally do a bit of a response video because I've got all these people fucking insinuating nicely or otherwise stories about me. You know, so I know it's not like I give a shit about that so much, except for the whole story. As I've left it in the past, it just snowballed out of control, and it takes a lot to unpick it later on. And if I want to unpick that, then I need to leave myself some like landmarks, because it's been going on for months, and that's what this is now. Because then I can look back on this, and at least I can landmark and pinpoint when this happened and when the story changed, because it will after this. The story will change again. The witch hunt will change, and depend where you decide to go or otherwise. Do you know what I mean? And so at least now I can punctuate that with this video. Otherwise, I have to go back and retrospectively find out when this was. So that's why I'm doing this now. But like, I'm trying to squeeze this shit in, mate. So don't worry. I'm not going after anybody. I will be. Some people really want me to go after them as well. I've got people trying to make shit out of nothing, following, because Ricardo's got away with it. They're trying to do it now. Do you know what I mean? Other people, completely other people from nowhere, as you can probably imagine. So really, mate, I don't need to invent anything.
Which is what happened earlier tonight, and it'll happen after this.
So you're blaming me for something that happened earlier tonight. Again, associating me to your viewers with something that happened which I had nothing to do with. I came on and spoke to you openly when I came on your stream. I wasn't lurking. I don't know what happened earlier tonight. I'm not in no private group. I'm not in control. I'm not in no cult. I'm not like Qya, going around, got all tabs on everyone at all times, like you told me.
Don't want to do that. I don't want to have weird conversations and talk shit about other people and get into this holier than thou thing where I'm a victim or you're a victim or somebody's a victim and everybody else is just bad and horrible to you.
No, I'm not just saying everyone's so bad and horrible to me. I'm saying they're a group of fucking groomers. And I'm watching it on the internet. That's what people do, you see. You see these fucking people. There's a whole fucking movement of people finding groomers on the internet.
I don't want to get into all this stuff, okay? It's a gaming channel. That's what we try to do.
Well, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But you brought this up. That's my point. And all I'm saying is, I never even said any of this shit anyway. All I said was, I want you to just not take all your information from those guys, because you had been insinuating all this stuff that I've been saying about you and doing it and dragging you and trying to drag you into the drama. You've said that to me before, and it's not evident, is it? It's not the case. Like, yes, I'm doing a video response to you now, but this is it then. Like I say, if you want to have a conversation with me about it, then that is absolutely fine, but it's not expected. But I'm just having my right to reply, and that's it. And if you look at what I've done, I haven't tried to drag you into it at all. I've made 2 videos ages ago to try and get you to be the observer, and that was it. And now you're making this mountain out of a molehill, and it feels like self-soothing at some level. Like you're trying to soothe yourself into believing what would be easier for you.
Good games and have fun. But for some reason, this has been going on.
Right. So the thing is, Cyrus, is that since this happened, have I been back in your chat? I've left you completely alone. I have not been dragging you into this. Right? So I went on just to see what you were doing. That's it. And you're already talking about it, so I mentioned it. If you're only just playing gaming channels, games on your gaming channel, then why are you bringing it up then? Obviously, you don't want to talk about the truth. It's fine, but it seems to me that it's a self-soothing situation. I think there, something like that. It's like trying to. Is it self-delusion? I don't know if that's too strong a word. I mean, you could say the same about me, but it's just like softening the edges for yourself of the conflict, maybe.
Since I started on YouTube, I mean, this has been going on for 10 years, okay? 10 years before I ever knew any of you people that are around me. It's been going on. I don't know what it is about me that I attract a certain type of drama. I don't know.
Drunk. Listen, if you're saying I've been saying shit about you, then that's basically what I said, wasn't it? I said that certain people have got a predestined to this sort of thing. Yeah, I think you do attract a certain type of person because you got sucked into the Amico thing, and now you're getting sucked into this hook, line, and sinker, and now you're defending them. You're going around the houses, softening up the edges for the witch hunt. And I think really you're not doing it for them. Why you did what you did with me tonight? It's purely PTSD from what you're saying. It's gone on for 10 years. You're absolutely knackered of it. And with me, you see all this heat coming with me. But rather than actually talk to me and even be clear and just say, look, mate, there's a lot of heat on you and I can't do it, and just taking responsibility for that. You know what I mean? Instead of the insinuation and the passive aggression. And I would have let that lie completely if it was just between me and you, but because I know they will use anything they want, anything, and it will be months and months and months of it. And they will have got you in there, you know, from this neutral position, they will have got you to start. I hope that they don't. I really do. Because I thought we were both neutral on this. And this is why I'm bringing it up again, because you're pushing it into a non-neutral space. I was completely neutral. Look at my things. Absolutely no attack on you at all. I think you might have been engaging with some sort of alt of me or something, maybe, because like I have not attacked you here in this chat, and you're acting like I am until you ban me. It's like you just want me gone, so you just engineer this whole thing like I'm attacking you. The only thing I said was it's a cop out because you were like, what was it? I'll get to that point in a minute.
But it is, because I'm not looking for it. It's very short.
Yeah, so he's saying this stuff that I did. So he's telling me why. So this is why so here, when it comes into these messages here, it just shows you all I'm doing at this point is trying to defend against the things that you're throwing at me at this point, softly as it is. I'm trying to come and bring something to the table and bring a subject to you. And a subject, well, actually, that you've brought up. And I'm bringing the clarity because you're very muddled with it, intentionally so, in my opinion, for yourself, I think. And so I'm here saying, when you say I've been saying something bad about you, there's my right to reply. I haven't. And then giving my reasons. And then it's like, you're telling me when I came to you, I fooled you into thinking that I was a nice person, but actually I just wanted to drag you into the drama. And I'm like telling you what the reality was there from my perspective. You know, this is not an attack at all, mate. And for you to see that as an attack is, well, you know, this is how cults behave, you know? That's not what happened. Say that you're insinuating another thing. Yeah, saying that I've been talking shit about you, and of course I haven't. And the only reason I didn't, well, I wouldn't have done anyway, as I say, because I haven't got any need to, but because you said not to. And you were sound enough to just be that observer for long enough to change their interactions with me. Now, I could not capitalise on that fast enough due to the fact my kid's getting older And so he needs me more, and he just needs more. You know, we're doing more stuff, like way more like active stuff. So I just have less time. But that didn't stop there, and they just ramped it up more and more. They just take the opportunity because they're little rat bags, you know what I mean? So I didn't manage to capitalize on it, but at least I got to see the observer, of the observer, to see them and see how they reacted with an observer. And what they do is they wrap around the observer. If they can, they dance around to see what they can do, see how strong the observer is rooted. I think they want to see how maybe strong the ethics system is, how they, you know, I don't know what it is, if the person wants or needs anything emotionally that they can manipulate. And then they spend a while doing it. So maybe it wasn't the end of the world that I couldn't capitalize on it and I got to watch it, because they did spend a long while doing it, and I watched some of that. I did see how they were doing it, until this point where he just literally just, you know, you come on. I'm sure people who know about this stuff know what I'm talking about. You come on, you say your bit. They then throw a load of accusations at you, which you then have to take time to defend. By the time you've defended those, they've banned you. So you never actually got to speak about your point in the first place. Yet they were the one bringing it up.
Come to me in sincerity, that are trying to be friends, that are trying to have a good time, and that respect me enough to understand that I'm not interested in those types of conversations, or in, you know, going to that place.
Well, we'll see, won't we, Cyrus? We'll see about that, won't we? I'm hoping that this video will help with that, because if I wasn't to put this video out now, I would expect quite a few streams coming from those guys, dragging you into it without dragging you into it. And you'll be happy with that, won't you? And you, in your brain, when you look back on it, you'll be like, yeah, they never dragged me into it, knowing that they did. Knowing that they bloody well did. Knowing that evil dragged your name into it many times, actually, until I'd said, excuse me, guys, this person has said that they don't want dragging into it. And then they stopped, they just kept saying, oh, this person we won't talk about. Oh, mate, they made some right meat off you. Did I make meat off you? Did I? Go and have a look at my channel. Go and have a look at my videos. I've said it many times. It's all there. Why would I say that if I had anything to hide? I'd be deleting streams like evil does. I'd be changing my name. I'd be going and finding new people, for like an entirely new audience. But they're the ones who are going to steadfastly stand by you and loyally stick to what you've asked them to do. Tommy Yumiko, right? That's who you're talking about. Okay, then.
With other people. Okay, so CPE, here's the thing. No matter what I say, you're going to tell me it's wrong. Okay, and I get that. You're going to tell me I'm misunderstanding.
See, this is what I'm saying about the cop-out. Because I'm trying to have a conversation with you. You're saying, let's have the conversation. I'm trying to have the conversation, and your only response is to tell me what's happening, to the point where I have to just... And at this point, all I'm doing is explaining away the points you've thrown at me. And it's not even like your problem with me. It seems like it's more like an assumption that you've made rather than like a problem that you've got with me. It's like, I don't know, it's weird the way you do it. It's like really soft and round the edges, but you're not... There are a couple of times where you have addressed a point that you've got a problem with. I think I've got from it that, you know, this has been going on a long time and you shouldn't be responsible for my victimhood or something. But you see, there's so many assumptions and incorrect and just like inconsistencies and things that are wrong and hypocrisies with that statement. But obviously, I'm too busy saying, no, mate, I think you've got the wrong end of the stick. You're taking what my words wrong. You're taking what I'm saying, you know, wrong. And in that time, you know, you're saying, oh, by that point, you're like, oh, everything I say you're going to disagree with, and that's all there is to it. No, mate, I agreed with loads of stuff that you had to say beforehand. But what I'm not agreeing with now is that you're pretending to have a conversation when you're just shutting me down. You're just shutting me down because I'm a fly in the ointment, which causes conflict between you and Yumiko, innit? That's it. and it puts you in a position that's just conflicting. And you know that even when they're on your side, they're starting a war with Albert. So subconsciously, you just don't want to rock that boat, do you? That's all it is. Just be honest about it, mate. Because all this is just dancing around. You've got no reason to say any of this, have you? Do you know what I mean? When have I? You're just saying I've got anything wrong. Everything you say, I'm going to disagree with. No, all I'm saying is you've made an assumption about me there, and I'm putting my point of view. So to clear up, you having to think about that and project onto that, and to do your minority report onto that. So you don't have to do that. I'll just tell you what it is from my perspective. That makes things a lot easier. And then we can have a conversation. We can cut away all that shit, respect each other's opinions, and move on and have that conversation. But you see, you won't because you're too busy telling me what I'm thinking. And then when I'm telling you, trying to clear it up, you're just going, oh, well, everything you say, you're going to disagree with. Well, that is a complete shutdown of a conversation. That's no argument. What's that? Again, cultist behavior. I'm sorry, but it's just shutdown mechanisms.
So let me just say it like this. What I believe was going on was that terrible things happened on the internet involving you and some of the people that I consider friends. Okay? I don't know why all those things happened. I don't know all of the conversations that happened. I wasn't there for that. And when people start talking shit about each other, I leave chats and chat rooms and stuff like that, and I don't participate in that shit because I'm not interested in that. It has nothing to do with me. It's none of my business. Okay?
Well, that's absolutely fine, and I never accused you of otherwise. I never accused you otherwise, but you see, you're acting as if I am. And that's the problem here. That's what I wanted to clear up with you, because you were talking like it was that. You're trying to witch hunt me. You're trying, because it's so easy, isn't it? It's so easy to pin it all on me like I'm some bully, I'm some attacking person. When, as you said, horrible things have happened, and all I wanted to do was point it out because you are the only person in that place who was decent enough to do so. As much as you don't believe that that's what I was doing, you think I'm some evil witch. And it's just easier for you, isn't it? The more you hang around with those guys, even if you don't participate in the bitch talking and stuff like that, they have got a vested interest, mate, and they have been working on it. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Curia. But a lot of the words you've said can't have come from you, because why? You wouldn't care. Why would you think about me being in private groups talking about you? Why would you even know about me talking and saying anything on other things? So Curia's sending you this stuff. It's not me dragging you into this stuff. And it'll be completely clipped and out of context as well. Have you got any? And I would love to see the clip that he sent you of me talking shit on you. I would love to see it. I'd love to see actually any of the little presentations that have been presented to you for you to come up with this stuff. Because the evidence is not there.
What?
Oh, the good cop out, yeah. The reason I say about, and see, this gives you, right, so what I'm going to say here, this gives him the ultimate, this is what I need to learn, is to not be so honest and to think that people are so honest, because whether or not you intended to or not, Cyrus, your defenses kick in at this point, to a point which are, it triggers you, you attack me, and it's no, and all I did was say that's a good cop out, which is that when you're saying everything that I say you're going to disagree with, like, where does that leave the argument, right? Do you or not agree that that is a bit of a cop out, right? So all I'm saying is, I'm just saying what I saw happen when you had brought up a conversation earlier on in that same thing, and you were mystifying the facts, and it involves me, so I was going to clarify it. But you didn't even give me a chance to do so, and then you said, oh, anything that I say you're just going to disagree with anyway, which is just, what's the point? So that's just a defeatist attitude. And you're just assuming that about me. When have I given you that impression? I've only ever wanted to just have a discussion with you, Cyrus. You've only ever put words into my mouth, only ever made assumptions about what I've thought and what I've said, because you've never wanted to talk to me about it. But you've talked about it. You've talked to them about it. and you're making assumptions about it. So is it just that you just want this fictional version of me rather than a real version to actually come and ask you a question? You just want a fictional version that you can use as a sort of MacGuffin to just put all of it on.
And never talked bad about you, but you are obviously listening to what fucking propaganda? I'm not listening to anything.
Well, why did you think that I was talking bad about you then? Where did that come from? Where did all the stuff about groups come from? Please prove me wrong then. Was I wrong? Has QE not been sending you messages? Have they not been sending you messages? Telling you little things about me? Telling you that I've been saying this about that person and that about that person? Have they not been having little things in specifically in streams? Wouldn't know because I don't watch their streams, but I would imagine, because I've seen how these people operate, and I've seen how QU operates. Okay, if you're going to tell me that QU hasn't been messaging you, I'll believe you.
Listen to you talk to me. If that's propaganda, that's your propaganda.
I talked to you. No, I came on and said my piece. I never expected you to believe any propaganda. I never rammed it home into your head. I never made you make any choices. I never made you side with anybody. I never did that. I never had to get you to proclaim your fucking, loyalty or any of that. It wasn't me doing that. It wasn't me starting wars with Albert.
Where's the evidence? Good fucking question, CP.
Yeah, where is the evidence?
That's a good cop-out, mate. That is a shitty thing to say to somebody that's trying.
See, look, when you've said all that stuff about me, you said, well, you've evidently been talking about me and you've evidently been associating with these people and you've evidently hanging around with toxic people. And you're saying that, but I'm not allowed to say it's a good cop-out when you're trying to shut me down and say everything that I say, that you say I'm going to disagree with. No, I'm listening to everything you say. But you're just already assuming that and minority reporting it. So then what? Where do we go from there? But now, I'll tell you where we go from there. You take anything you can to end the situation, end the conversation, because it's just getting too real, isn't it? And I'll take responsibility for that because obviously my language when it comes into the chat, I'm trying to be honest and non-aggressive. I'm trying to be non-attacking and I'm trying to not insinuate anything. I'm not trying to assume anything. I'm just trying to say how it is, how I see it, which I thought it was with you, to be honest. I know there's a lot of assumptions do play into anyone's situation like that, especially my interactions with you. A lot of assumptions have played into it. So I was expecting that, and I was accepting of that. But yeah, I just think we could have some sort of conversation. And to me, that didn't seem attacking to the level that you are now going to react. Very quickly, let's just be honest, this is all you've had. You've said all this stuff, which this is all on here, yes, but this was me responding to all these things you're saying about me. Unfounded. They are your opinions, but a lot of them are way off. And lead me to say about the propaganda.
And was very empathetic to what you had to say.
See, this is it, you see. So now it seems to me like this is a pre-recorded almost. You've had this in your mind. You've mulled this over. You've got this in your head that you've been nice to me and I fucked you in the back. Now, either that came from somewhere else, was encouraged by something else, or you've mistakenly, interpreted things in that way. But I would like to see the evidence of that. I would like to see. I've not, again, like I said, why would I? What reason have I got to do that? Do you think it's because I want to buy support from Albert or something like that by throwing you under the bus? It's not how it works with me. Really not. I don't need to do that. I really don't. Honestly, like, those guys operate like that because they are so cheap. But even when it comes down to, like, the people who are your enemies, it's not that cheap. It's not as cheap as it is over there. So yes, it would work up to a point with those guys to throw someone under the bus and you can get something from it as return. But it doesn't work the same as it does over with evil at all. And I don't do that anyway. I don't have to do that. Even if I wanted to do that, which I don't have to do that. I can. I've made it. I am in this position. I am not in this position by doing that, mate. Do you know what I mean? If I wanted to ride other people, hide behind other people, just fucking say what was fashionable or what I thought would be the easiest fucking option, say what would cover my back, say what would backpedal me out of a situation, I wouldn't be in this situation that I'm in, would I? Because I am shining a light in a pit full of people who are hiding in the shadows. That's my job. That's what I'm doing. I'm the fucking Tombury, mate. Right? And you're just deciding which path you want to join in on. You're in the shadows. That's fine. It's safe in the shadows, isn't it? You go and sit in your soft shadows in your soft little bubbles, shadowlands. It's fine. But I am still here and I am still shining a light on things. So for that reason, I do not need to go and pretend to be friends with someone and then throw them under the bus to curry favour with someone else, to start drama with someone else. They are climbing up my yin-yang, mate. I do not need to do that to start drama, right? I do not need to do that for any reason at all. I am just shining a light and you happen to land in it.
Concern and all the conversations we had.
Exactly.
It was the position that you were put in.
Exactly. A concern. Yeah, I was just a viewer. I found you to be, and I considered you to be a friend in that sense. You know what I mean? A YouTube friend. Absolutely. No change there at all. The only change that has happened within your four walls. That Discord or whatever it is, it's happened within there, mate. It's not happened with me. There might have been streams with those guys slagging you off. I wasn't even on them. Because I'm not here most of the time, right? God, and when I am here, I don't even start till like 4 or 5 in the morning. So where that's the point is, okay, maybe I shouldn't have assumed and said you were listening to propaganda, but where's it coming from then? Please tell me then, where's it coming from? I did ask before then, I was like, where's the evidence? And you were like, oh, I don't need to. And then the next thing I got was, oh, but that thing about you're just not going to believe anything I say anyway. So I think I was within my right at some level to say something about propaganda there, because you're not leaving much open to discussion there, are you? So you're saying here, let's just go back a minute. Oh, for fuck's sake, this thing.
Okay, so CPE, here's the thing. No matter what I say, you're going to tell me it's wrong. Okay, and I get that. You're going to tell me I'm misunderstanding. So let me just say it like this. What I believe was going on was that terrible things happened on the internet involving you and some of the people that I consider friends. Okay? I don't know why all those things happened. I don't know all of the conversations that happened. I wasn't there for that. And when people start talking shit about each other, I leave chats and chat rooms and stuff like that, and I don't participate in that shit because I'm not.
And before we go on with this, I just want to say it's not comparable, by the way. What they're doing is not comparable even to what your attacks from Albert and all these other people. Nope, not. The only thing that's even slightly comparable is what they did to Hayat. And I don't agree with that at all, right? But that's because, and that's given the shit I'm getting from him as well. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I'm not reaping that one, am I? If you look at Evil and Ricardo's channel, they're reaping it. They're taking advantage of vulnerable people. I'm being attacked by him. Am I reaping it? Would someone who acts in that way to someone who's doing that to them do what you're saying I'm doing to you? I think there's a bit of projection here, mate. People pretending to be friends and then using you. I wonder if that's me or someone else you're thinking of.
Interested in that. It has nothing to do with me. It's none of my business. Okay?
Yeah, well, you wouldn't be wanting to be part of that because they are so disgusting. So say Albert will kick off, right? It'll be for a couple of minutes, right? If that person then comes on the panel, because they're allowed to come on the panel on that channel, right? Then they'll have it out and they'll probably be all right and be talking nicely by the end of it. That's why I said about you guys, if you'd have got on the panel together and had it out, then it might have been all right. But you weren't up for it because they would never allow it. Q and Evil would never allow that to happen. Never in a million years. And so they had to work very, very hard to stop that from happening. And that's what we saw. That's just my opinion, but have a look at the timelines. Just have a look at it. This is Uyumiko who you're defending here, by the way. And who you're saying is not doing that. And it must be me. But you see, Albert will go from one person to another, and it'll be a few minutes on each. And then we'll move on to something else. We'll talk about something else. Look at what they're doing. It's night in, night out. And you're saying it happened. Happened, did it? No, it's still happening. They've just gone back behind the scenes because I've said they're looking for different ways of doing it. Because I've said, if you've got a complaint, address me on panel, or shut the fuck up, because it's all lies and they've made it all up. If they had a real complaint, then they could bring it to me and then we could actually have it out. But they've got nothing. They just wanted to make a witch hunt, and they wanted to make it as cheap as that. And so that is very, very different. If Albert was going on one person all the time, and it was all lies, then that would be something. And I don't think many people, like you're saying, would really hang around in that chat that much, because one, it'd be boring, and two, you don't want to be associated with that. When it's just Albert having a go at various people for a few minutes, when you know all of those people could come on that channel with him and talk to him, when I've already been in those burners before myself, and I know that actually you can just talk to him and it's fine, it's just, we can just have a chat. When you know that, then it's a completely different scenario. You really can't compare it to what the nastiness, the toxicity, and the actual hate, the actual evil, the actual wanting to wish harm on people that is going on over there with your friends. I just wanted to make that clear. There is a massive difference. Maybe that's just my opinion, but anyone who's interested, just look at the evidence. Get out of the kitchen.
What? I considered you a friend and never talked bad about you, but you are obviously listening to what fucking propaganda? I'm not listening to anything. I listen to you talk to me. If that's propaganda, that's your propaganda. Where's the evidence? Good fucking question, CPE. Where is the fucking evidence? That's a good cop-out mate. That is a shitty thing to say to somebody that's trying to listen to what you have to say and was very empathetic to what you had to say. And your only concern
Okay. I'm just getting conflicting messages off you, Cyrus. That's all. And I suppose it's not the best environment to do this, is it? When it's on a chat. I need to take that into consideration a bit more. But you're saying that you're being empathetic, and I know you are trying there. You are. But your words are, oh, you're just going to disagree with anything I say anyway. So why do we even bother? So is that being empathetic and listening? I don't know. Is that what you, maybe it's just like a difference of opinion regarding words or something, and your words mean different things to what I see them as meaning or something?
All the conversations we had was the position that you were put in, not the position you were putting me in. You never once asked me anything about how I felt about...
It was a position that you put yourself in that we were discussing. You've just said yourself, you're in the internet, you bring it on yourself. So you brought yourself into a conversation. The original time I brought you into it, fair enough. But after that, it was when you were bringing up the conversation. You decided to bring Albert into it, not me. Right? It was you that did that.
The position you were bringing to me,
Yes, the first time. But no, actually, no. You brought the position to me because you, being neutral with me and Evil, were over with those guys when they were being so bad and below anything had ever happened before. Anything. Doxing's bad, but regular, daily, harping for months for no reason. That has never, ever been pushed before to that level, ever. And never been accepted and legitimised and normalised to that level, ever. and you were part of that publicly, I was well within my rights, if I thought there was a reason, a benefit to do so, to ask you about that. You put yourself in that position. You're hanging around with fire. You're hanging around with actual fire, the fire that has already burnt you once. And you're telling me that because I came and asked you about it once, that I put you in this massive position and that I didn't care about your position. I understood your position very, very well, mate. And the reason why I didn't even mention it afterwards was because you'd asked me not to. Even though they were going around going, oh yeah, thank you for your support, Cyrus. Thanks for your support, Cyrus. I'm like winding, like trying to wind everyone up and everything and like crowing about it and all that shit, right? That's what they were getting from it. But no, I was putting you in a position by asking you, by coming into your public chat where you've been publicly making your support for people who are doing that, and I asked you about it. If you had a problem with me publicly being associated with some, even though I'm not saying anything bad or anything like that, with people who are attacking you, then you could come and ask me about it and I'd discuss it with you, but you don't want to discuss it. That's not my problem. We can discuss this at any point. And it wouldn't be an attack either. And you can trust me that I'm not going to throw you under the bus over there to those people, and you know I haven't. Or maybe it depends. Have you actually seen this stuff with your own eyes, or are you getting it secondhand? That's the question. You're denying it. You're saying that you've ever. I believe you that you're saying, oh, the only person you've spoken to about this is me and my message that I sent you. So I'll take you at your word. So I would like to know then where you've got this information and all these suppositions, because is that a filter that you're watching things through? Are you feeling that attacked that you see it in that way? And it's nothing to do with all those guys, and that you are literally that attacked by everything, that you see me holding you to some sort of a hot topic, which in this environment is what happens. Yeah, the people you hang around with, it's what happens. Then, and not wanting to discuss it, and that's somehow my problem that you don't want to discuss that. You're hanging around with those guys in that environment, like you've just told me. And to be fair, I only started really knocking around with Albert that much more after you'd said that, because it was like, well, okay, then I'll take you at your word. It's all about, it doesn't matter who you're hanging around with, does it? It doesn't matter who you're talking to. It doesn't matter what they say about you, because we can still be mates. And I was like, okay, then, well, let's push that then. Like I say, it's a psychological exploration. What can I do? Can I hold two truths in my mind at the same time? Can I be completely fine with this guy, which I am, and at the same time be friends with his enemy? Because he can do it to me. You know, and like I said before, you're their mate. You're not my mate, you're their mate. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I would have never tried to. It's so simplistic for you to think that that's what I'm doing. It's so easy to dismiss, isn't it? When you're like, oh, this bitch is just coming and trying to get me between me and my friends. And it's like, no, mate, I'm just talking about responsibility and accountability on the internet. You know, just like I will take responsibility and accountability on the internet, which is why I'm saying, please tell me about it. Let's talk about it. Let's have the open conversation. Why not? What are you scared of? Only good things could come of me and you having a conversation about this, in my opinion. You could cast off the shackles of all the shit, because you'd be being real, and we would be creating a bridge between the two loads of shit. But you're too busy acting like you're being attacked. When actually both me and you, if you weren't trying to, now I would say, reinforce their propaganda in that sense, for some reason, whether it's through they've inspired you to do so, or it's just your inspiration, your pure inspiration, but through doing that, you know, you're just kind of like, oh, it's too much effort, too much. This woman's just attacking me. These guys are fine. It's all coming from here. Oh God, it's terrible. She's friends with Albert. Oh my God, she's an awful, awful person. I can't believe she betrayed me when she was nice to me before. It's so much easier to do that, isn't it? Rather than just go, okay, let's pull our fucking socks up and let's just have a conversation. Because I know that in my case, you've always been double right with me. I've always been double right with you. Oh no, I said you had a cop out. You've said quite a few things about me around the houses, to be fair, mate. You might deny it, but at least I'll fucking be right about it and honest. And I'll tell you what I've said. But you're kind of like, oh no, you know, a little bit fluffy and all that stuff. So it's a bit weird and a bit different. But like, if you wanted to be forthright about this, you wanted to nip it in the bud, how have you seen what I did? I have sent those guys running so many fucking times just by the threat of the light being shone on them. When I actually do get the chance to shine the light on them, they are going to be running for the hills. It's going to go crazy out there, right? They're going to be going fucking crazy. Or their best bet is that I forget about them. They've been trying to get me, fucking Q has been sending buttocks in to try and get him to distract me and things like that. That's their best hope. But my whole thing is just changing the landscape. Why hide in the corner and be like, oh, I'm all right, it's fine, I've just been attacked for 10 years, it's fine. Why not change it? Is it because it would mean having to truly be outside of their side mentality, which you can deny all you want, and I'm not putting that side on you at all. I'm just saying what I know about their behaviour and how they act, having been in that cult, right? As well as seeing it for a year afterwards and how it is about the sides, and you won't know until you come out of it. But anyway, look at the benefits for what I'm offering here compared to the negatives. What is bad that's gonna happen out of me and you having a conversation about this? It will be put to bed. It will be ended. There won't be any assumptions made anymore. People can't use it anymore from both sides. Me and you step out of it and walk in the light. And then any shady, toxic person who's trying to do anything, they can do that shit. But we are going to be the next stage up, looking at them, observing them, which is what I'm trying to do, and walking in the light. But what you're doing here is you're like, oh no, I'm fine in the shadows, mate. I'm fine. You know, the shadows will leave me alone as long as I stay in the shadows. Like it or not, you've got the spotlight has been shone on you a long time ago, and now the trolls are on you. You want to just have a gaming channel, but unfortunately, I did not intend to bring that shit on you at all. I just wanted to talk to you about something because like I said, you put yourself publicly in that situation. Those toxic shadow people then came to bring that shit back to you. So yeah, through me, through other people, unfortunately, you have had the spotlight put on you now. And so you could walk in that light. You could use it to your benefit. You know what I mean? And that's what negative is there to doing that? People might take the piss out of it a bit. What's the difference? What is the difference? People might, if they don't, it's just being used. It's just being pulled apart, and it's just being utilized by other people. It would take one conversation. I don't know what you'd think, what nefarious benefit you think I'm going to get from that, or if I'm going to do something like, I don't know, just like be sniggering in the privet to Albert and Dean. Ha ha ha! No, mate. I don't think you can get your head around the fact that I am non-cultish. I don't subscribe. I am not part of any group. I am just my own person. The only reason it looks like I'm on a particular side is because the people you associate with, for whatever your choice, whatever, are very side orientated. They shut everyone away. They blank everyone. They block everyone like you did tonight. But at least you're like from a different place than us. So it's not quite so shocking in your environment. In their environment, it's a massive hypocrisy to be doing what they're doing. But, you know, that is a massive echo chamber. And with that echo chamber comes sides, because you've got an edge to the echo chamber. And that is where the friction is with the whole of the rest of the community. But you're not going to see it because you think it's all us lot attacking you. Anyway, I'll listen to the rest of what you've got to say.
That we're going to have to, that you were trying, I don't know what you were doing. Okay, I'm not going to try to say what you're doing because you can tell me I'm wrong.
What was I trying to do?
CBE, look, I don't know.
Where did you get that idea that I was trying to do something with you? I was trying something with you. I wasn't. I was like, can you help me? I was like, you are our only hope. It was a classic. It was one of them. You're my only fucking hope. You're the only person. I said this to you. I've said exactly what it is. You were the person who came with the eyes to see. And all you had to do was be there. You didn't even have to see it. And you were. That's what you did. And I appreciate that. So thank you. That's it. You just had to be there, because then they would just have to justify themselves to somebody at some level, even if it's just themselves, because they know other people are watching. That is it. And you just don't believe it. I think the question should be here, Cyrus, is why can't you believe? Well, I know why it is, because you've explained you had 10 years worth of attacks. So it's understandable. But please take that into account. If I'm going to take that into account, you must take that into account. Where you're like, I can't understand what it is you were trying to do there. Why not actually listen to the words that I've said? Actually take it as potentially there could be truth in what I'm saying, like I'm doing with you. There could be truth in the fact that I literally just reached out to you because of Evil respecting you and me respecting you.
What's up with you? I don't know your history.
See, now you're attacking me.
You and other people, okay?
See, no, I don't know what's up with you. You know, it's already being brought in. I never said anything like that to you. I never said, oh, there's something wrong with you, mate. You know, I never said that.
I'm not listening to them. They're not affecting me. Nobody's telling me what to think or do.
Good.
Okay, I don't know, because I don't participate in that shit.
Good.
I would appreciate.
Well, then your assumptions are quite interesting. Then I'd be interested to know how you reach those assumptions. Is all.
Honestly, yes. I would appreciate if you just go away and don't come back.
Yeah, okay? So that was it. That's the end of it. That's the end of it. So I didn't even get to say my piece. So you just said, I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know what this is all about. Goodbye. I don't talk to them about this stuff. Cyrus, that's not a conversation. You could have just said you didn't want to do that. But I know you don't want to have a conversation about this stuff because you're scared of the attacks it's going to bring. But I also think here, because you were so quick to get rid of me, I do think it creates some conflict. And I don't think it's Albert that you're fearing here. I don't. I really don't. I think it's because you know the amount of shit that they're going to fucking spin out of it. And it's like, they'll be nice to you about it. It's not going to be an attack, but it's just going to be a head fuck. That's what cult feels like. When you walk out of that sort of environment, honestly, it feels, you can call me a bitch, you can call me, you know, you think I'm like attacking you, you think I'm, you know, saying stuff about you. No. Like, all it is, mate, is think about it like this. It's like a haunted house. When you walk out of that haunted house and you end up in another house, and the house feels like it's smiling rather than frowning, the house just feels like it's not, that thing isn't there anymore. I grew up in a haunted house, and when I moved out to my first flat, that's when I realised it wasn't me. That's when I realised I wasn't crazy about that, because it had gone. It was like there was no haunt. I did come into a haunted house later on in time, but when you're in it, it's just like there's just a thing in there, isn't there? Varying degrees of vibe. It might not be haunted, it might just be a vibe or something, but there's something on it. And then when you walk into a clear place where it's just well lit and everything's clear, there's a fresh breeze blowing through, you might not like some of the fucking bugs that come through with the breeze, but the breeze is blowing through and the windows are open and nothing stagnates. And it's like, it's unbelievable, the difference. And you're like, oh God, yeah, fucking hell, that place was haunted. And that is all it is. So you'll not be able to see it. But if you want to step outside that house just for a minute, and you want to just move the conversation on and move to the next room and be more aware and take charge of the situation a bit, you can never go back from that. Do you know what I mean? You take charge of the conversation and you will never go back from that. people might take the shit, but you're already having the shit. You know what I mean? It's like people will always take the piss. People will always. That's what it is with me. People are always going to do it. Ricardo is so pathetic. He has nothing else, as is proven. Like he's even going after Hayat now. Do you know what I mean? He's using that to mine stuff. That's what I mean. They're still doing it. They're just going round vulnerable people now, who they know I'm not going to touch, to go and get them to bring heat on them again to attack me. And that's going to go on forever, because that is how little content they've got. And as you can see, when they did scurry off for a bit, when I sent them packing, they went and did stuff, and they were bored to fuck. They were coming over to other people's streams to cause trouble and all the rest of it. Yeah. So they're coming over to do that stuff. So my point is that they will always do this to me. I'm just trying to make something out of it. I'm trying to see it for what it is. So I would appreciate a different conversation. I would appreciate a different point of view of it. I'd appreciate the other side, because none of those guys are going to talk to me about it, even though they're the ones causing all the shit. Being incredibly toxic. We know why it is. It's just a toxic ex. It's just a toxic ex that's being manipulated by someone who is an absolute psycho and manipulator and just wants to see everything burn. And he sees that situation, he's just manipulating this person into just being this eternal toxic ex. And that's all it is. But like, I find that interesting with the psychology, you see? And there's a lot to be gained from it. And these people are showing themselves to be right fucking idiots and complete losers, absolute losers in life. That is their bread and butter. That is their daily in and out. So, yeah, I'd massively appreciate an actual frank discussion about this. No expectations, no presumptions, no loaded questions, nothing. No, like, trying to catch you out. No, nothing. Just a pure, let's have a discussion about this. Like, what do you think about this? When your experience, did this happen? It won't be like, trying to catch you in any sort of situations. Like, if you tried to shut me down, for instance, like you have done today, which could just be a sort of artifact of your speech or something, of how you talk to people. But like, just to preface a conversation with someone with like, well, I know you're going to disagree with everything I say, but I might just have to just take that with a pinch of salt and not see that as a shutdown. But we can get past that, and we can actually discuss things. We have got different opinions on stuff, but I think we are neutral, and I think we could have it could be really good for both of us, because at the moment you're just going to get pecked at, and every single time. See, I've got them to back off before. I've got them now to do this shit, to play these games around these other people, which is not ideal, but that's because they can't overtly carry on at me and look like any sort of decency to these new people they're trying to bring in. So they can't, excuse me, that started with you, by having one decent person. Now they've had to change it up. And so they're having to do that stuff. But I've managed to do that. I've managed to get them to change their behaviors and stuff like that. That's interesting to me. And, you're always going to be pecked at, because if the person who was attacking you is going to leave you alone because they get bored, then someone else, hint, hint, someone else will come and utilize that situation for their own benefit. And they may appear to be a friend. And that will always happen, because you're always going to be open to it, because you've not got your back to any sort of a wall. You've not got any sort of place to fight from. You're just letting them do it to you. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. You might not want to hear it. You might think I'm a witch. You might think I'm terrible for saying it. You might think I'm just dragging you into it and having a go. I'm not, mate. You're bringing yourself into this. And I'm saying we can step out of this together. Well, I might not be able to step out of it ever, but you might be able to. You might be able to move on to the next room. I mean, we'd already kind of discussed potentially building bridges until they came along and decided they did not want you building bridges with anybody. So, anyway, that's the end of that. That's when I got banned. Crazy.
Obviously, whatever you're doing is not a genuine conversation with them.
Obviously. Because you really looked at what I was doing. You really listened to what I was saying, didn't you? Where'd you get your information from then if you're not getting it from me? About me? If you're not getting it from them and you're not getting it from me, then where's this information coming from, Cyrus?
So,
that you're basing these assumptions on?
So where has that come from? Because we were always fine. If you look back at the timelines when you're saying that I was going attacking you and or saying stuff about you, you look at, I was fine going around to yours, I was fine when there were other people there. It was when some other stuff got involved that the pressure got put on. Now that's being attached to me, which I'm fine with, because with me comes heat, obviously, and that's what they're banking on. They're banking on that shutting down my voice. See, they put enough heat on me and no one wants to touch it, so that's fine, that's absolutely fine. But then to convince yourself so quickly that it's all me and that I'm banning you, and that I'm attacking you, or I'm trying to do something dodgy, and just jump to that conclusion so quickly. Where's the drive for that? You know, what benefit is there to that? What pressure, what negativity have I actually put on you? So some negativity is coming to you from that. Now I know you're getting some stuff from Albert now, but at the time before you weren't. So that was not coming from me. Did you see what I'm trying to get at, Cyrus? None of this negativity came from me. You look back on my videos, I've always been damn straight with you, and I've always been open with you. I've always been nice about you. The pressure goes on lots of people. I've seen it put on a lot of people. And I've also had experience myself of how you can work that stuff out in your head and justify it to yourself. And so that's why I'm leaving it at this point. But I still feel like I was well within my rights to put my right to reply for a lot of insinuations and a lot of assumptions that you were putting out there last night. And I just wonder why. What pressure, what threat do I bring to you that is so threatening that you're going to ban me straight off? If you look at the actual messages, there's no such thing. You know, you wonder why it's been 10 years, and I think part of it is potentially because you don't confront any of it. But you do react to it, and you say you're not reacting to it, which is kind of the worst position you can be in, really, with this stuff. Because what people want is a reaction, isn't it? That's what they want, is a reaction. But they don't want you kind of standing up to them. They don't want you confronting them. They might actually want you to talk to them, actually. So sometimes people might just want to resolve it. It might be a bit rough around the edges and stuff like that, but people might actually resolve it if you push forward. But you don't, you just go back and you go to the easy escape every time. And so that's why it's lasted 10 years. Because this is one of those many opportunities where someone's wanted to resolve something. And as far as I was concerned, it was resolved. I didn't go on at you, did I? You'd said you wanted to be left out of it. I left you out of it. That's it. And now you're the one who was insinuating and talking around the subject, and then laid straight in on me when I even just appeared on your chat. Again, where's that threat come from? I'd like to see, like I said, any evidence or any examples that you want to give me of when I threatened you. My last points, because obviously this is the last video I'm going to do for you, is what I've just said in that video about where you're basing these assumptions. That's my point. Even if you just take into account those messages that I got banned for on there, you said there I obviously was doing something that was not real. I was obviously doing something where I was messing around and trying to achieve something nefarious that wasn't in your interests or anything like that. I'd like to know where you get that from. I don't think I made that very clear. So please explain to me because honestly, with all my honesty and the truth of my heart, I've been honest with you, Cyrus, from the start. So I want to know why that has come across to you as me doing something dodgy, whilst at the same time, Q and people like that are like, they're all right. You know what I mean? They're not causing weird shit in your Discord. It's all coming from me. Do you know what I mean? So that's where that question is. And so part of that thing that I was saying before, this is another thing I'm going to put at the end, is that if you're reacting to that stuff, saying you're not reacting to it, and then putting presumptions, because by saying you're not reacting to it, but reacting to it anyway, you're attracting attention, but you're not resolving any of the issues. Whether the issues are made up by some people or real in other cases. If they're made up and people are trying to start shit with you, obviously it's a fine line between feeding the trolls and otherwise, but there is a line to be trodden if you're going to navigate this space. If you're going to hang around with evil, right? That's all it is. If you're going to hang around with trolls, then I would suggest you don't avoid all trolls because it ain't going to work for you, is it? And so that's where I think maybe this conflict is coming for you. It's a bit like 2001, like where the programming just isn't working out. It's all like rubbing together and creating friction. That's all I'm saying. And please don't put that on me just because I brought it up, because I'm going to confront my bullies. I'm sorry, but I am. And I'm not going to go for 10 years. I might go for 10 years with someone fucking ragging me, but I'm not going to care like you do. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to care. I'll be doing my own thing and getting my shit from that. I'm going to make it work for me, or I won't be there. I won't be like half doing it, what I would normally be doing, maybe sometimes, because it's part of the thing, you know, sometimes you've got to starve them for a bit. But like, you know, it's, if you're not going to enjoy doing it and you find it threatening to that level, then why are you hanging around with those guys and putting yourself in the fire in the first place is my question. And then, but that's absolutely fine. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? It's just, there's that. If you obviously want a bit of spice in your life, but you're all like, no, no alarms and no surprises, please, at the same time. So it's just a bit conflicting to me, you know. I'm just like, I don't understand where you're coming from really with it all. Because if you do want this peaceful, quiet life, well, one, you're in the wrong place, and two, it's like, why not just finish it once and for all by talking to people or offering to talk to people? That's what I was saying to you earlier. I offered, just the offer of resolving the problem with Evil and Ricardo was enough to knock them back for a while for me. Now, I could not have achieved that if there hadn't have been any observers to see that there would have been some repercussion for me doing that. Because in the past they've gone, oh yeah, we're doing olive branches, and then just slagged me off for hours and hours, and nobody would have ever called them out on it. So there was no point me making my thing of saying, look, just me and you, no more shit, no more production. You don't get to milk off me anymore. You don't get to eat off me anymore for no reason. If you've got a problem, a legit problem, then, you know, you not knowing the reasons behind it all, that speaks volumes. You know what I mean? That's because there are no reasons, mate. They've, you know, if they had reasons, if they really did think there was a real reason, then you would have heard about it, wouldn't you? But there aren't any reasons because it's all fucking bullshit. But that's why when I say to him, come and fucking address it on panel with me, just me and you, let's have it out. If you've got such a problem with me that you're doing this. And what did they do? They ran away, and then they went and got more dinks who don't know what's going on, and they did secret streams. So no, with everyone's faces plastered all over them to cause shit and cause trouble, but no one can actually say anything to them. That is the most pathetic thing I've ever seen anyone on the internet do, let alone this place. Just saying. I'd actually just finished this video when I watched this Sam Vaknin video that I'm going to mirror now, because I want you to watch this video, because you might understand where I'm coming from. If you watch this video, you might understand where some of the roots of what I'm saying, and you might not have to assume. I know you don't want to hear it from me, but maybe you'll watch this video and maybe you'll understand, and maybe it'll help you, because that's what I'm trying to get across, is that I'm going through what you've been through in a different way, and I'm just wanting to collaborate. That's it. But yeah, I hope you watch this video anyway.
Secrecy is the abuser's weapon. It seems people, when they've been through an experience like this, they want to hide it. They're ashamed. What is this place for secrecy?
There's a complement to this. There's another sentence that says that sunshine disinfects abuse.
Mm.
What I meant to say with these two sentences is that the narcissist or the abuser's power over you is the fantasy.
Mm.
He makes you feel that any exit strategy is betrayal, is a form of betrayal. You're betraying him. And that you're ruining something beautiful. He invests in your aesthetic sense. It's like you've created something amazing together, like a cathedral or something together. And now you're pulling the rug from under him and it's all going to crumble, having invested so much in it and so on. So you're both an aesthetic criminal, like burning a work of art, in a museum, or throwing acid at something, on the one hand. And on the other hand, you're a traitor. You're also a mother who is abandoning her child. You're also many other things. But these are the two crucial features. And so you feel ashamed of yourself. You feel ashamed of yourself for three reasons. For the aforementioned two, but also because you begin to realize how stupid you've been. And to end up with a narcissist, you need to be gullible or suspend judgment or something. Not very clever. It is a criticism over you. I mean, being in a situation with a narcissist means that something is wrong with you. However unpalatable it is to hear. So people deny that and they feel ashamed of it and they repress it and so on and so forth. And this plays right into the hand of the narcissist. As long as you keep quiet, you're an accomplice in the fantasy. It's exactly like legally, if you keep quiet on a crime, you become an accomplice.
Yes.
If you know about a crime, you have to report it. If you don't report it, you go to prison. Simple as that. There is a responsibility. And so you become more deeply embedded in the fantasy. Now emotions are in the interplay with all of us. So even if you resent the fantasy and you hate the narcissist, the longer you're with him, there's habituation, there is emotional investment, it can't be denied. There are good moments, rosy, it's called rosy retrospection. There are good moments and so on. The longer you stay, the more infected you are. It's contagious, simply contagious. Now, what do you do when you're sick? You go to see a doctor. What does it mean? You share with the doctor. I mean, if you go to see a medical doctor and you keep mum, you don't say a word, nothing much will come of it.
Right.
Going to a doctor medical doctor means that you have decided to make public your condition. The public is small. It's the doctor and the nurse. But it's still a public. If you need help or if you're you need to make it public. You need to talk to your friends and to your family and to your colleagues and maybe to professionals and so on. You need support. You need to make it public, not only for the advice that you're bound to get or help that you're about to receive, assistance and so on, but you need to go public because it breaks a taboo. Fantasy comes with a taboo. Omerta, vendetta, it's like the mafia. You don't talk about these things to the cops. So you keep it, and it's like the vow of silence. If you break the vow of silence, there will be vendetta and you will die. There's a taboo attached to the fantasy. Breaking the taboo is a powerful symbol of liberation and regaining of agency. Even if you don't get any good advice and no help and no nothing, and everyone even mocks you, even if you are disbelieved, very often the reaction would be disbelief.
Yes.
Oh, he's such a nice guy. Come on. Something must be wrong with you. And he will try to convince people that you're the crazy one. The smear campaigns and so on. It's an arduous path. It's not easy. But the very fact that you have exited the confines of the fantasy and involved third parties is liberating, empowering, and the taboo is gone. The moment the taboo is gone, you're in the position to walk away. So this is one thing. Second thing is the other sentence. Sunshine infects abuse in the sense that abuse is either criminal, In many cases, it is criminal. Or it's frowned upon socially. It's socially unacceptable. And narcissists are actually pro-social. They're conformist because narcissists need other people. They're dependent on other people for narcissistic supply. They're not like psychopaths. Psychopaths are loners. A psychopath is a loner, is a hunter, is a predator. A narcissist is a 2-year-old dependent baby, big baby in an adult body. So narcissists would not risk the approbation and chastisement of society. So if you go public, the very exposure would constrain the narcissist. It would change his behavior. It's a form of behavior modification. Like, I'm going to tell the whole world of what you're doing. You may end up in prison, or you may end up being shunned by society, even by your peers, and so on and so forth. There's a price to pay. And this price is doubly problematic. Because on one hand, the narcissist is a coward. Most narcissists and bullies are cowards. But on the other hand, losing your pathological narcissistic space, the way we started, losing it is a major problem because you have to find a new one, cultivate new sources. It's, a long process. And in this long period, until you have established a new space, in this long period, you're deprived of narcissistic supply. You're in a state known as narcissistic collapse. If this has been done in public, you're in a condition known as narcissistic mortification, which drives you as a narcissist to develop suicidal ideation, emotional dysregulation. You resemble a borderline to a large extent. In short, there is hell to pay. Once your partner in crime, your partner in the fantasy, decided to blow the whistle on you, which is essentially what happens, you're exposed and you're gone and you're done. Because that's it, the taboo has been broken and sunshine disinfects your abuse. You are disabled, you're deactivated as an abuser.
Beautiful. Sam, if let's say you get away and then you look back and you realize that your friends, other people around the narcissist are being abused, is it like the Matrix? Can we find people and unplug them, or do we have to let it happen? What is the path there?
As I told you earlier, the abuser's fantasy is very addictive.
Yes.
Starting with the love bombing stage, where you fall in love with an idealized, perfect version of yourself, which is highly addictive. And people buy into the fantasy because most fantasies make sense, afford you an outlet from reality, and ostensibly lead to better outcomes. People confuse fantasy with dreams and dreams with planning. They confuse often. Daydreaming is actually good because it leads to planning. But fantasy is not good because it leads away from reality. It is what we call it non-efficacious. It reduces self-efficacy, reduces your ability to operate in the environment and on the environment in order to extricate outcomes. If you daydream about a new product and then you team up with some engineers and you make the new product, that's great. It leads you closer to reality. But if you fantasize that you are the world's leading genius, not having graduated high school, it's a serious problem because it leads you away from reality. However, people confuse. They confuse fantasy with daydreaming, daydreaming with planning, and so on. So they think the fantasy might take them places. It's a good thing. Great. And when you try to give them the red pill, blue pill, red pill, yes. You mentioned the Matrix. When you try to give them the red pill, they refuse and they turn on you.
Yes.
They turn on you because you're taking away the only thing that gives them solace, the only consolation, the only redemption and absolution, and the only promise. People who find themselves in the Matrix are people who have already given up on reality. Already. These are people who find reality already unbearable, intolerable, unacceptable. These are people who have rejected reality. They've made a choice. The last realistic choice they've made is to enter the matrix, to get plugged in. They chose to be plugged in. No one forced them. When you disconnect them and offer them the red pill, you're the enemy.
Yeah.
So while I understand the natural inclination to warn other people and to expose the narcissist to other people and to try to, it's a savior complex. It's in itself a pathology.
Yes.
I'm going to rescue you. I'm going to save you. I'm going to fix you. I'm going to heal you by protecting you from the narcissist. I have this knowledge and I'm going to protect you from the narcissist. And it rarely works. It makes you enemies and it gets you involved in warfare, in battles that are not yours. So you become the narcissist enemy, smear campaigns, this, that, worse. I mean, you don't need this. You need all your resources and energy for yourself. You need to be selfish now. In the aftermath of a relationship with a narcissist, you need to be selfish now. You need to reconstruct your identity because it's been taken away from you. You need to separate from the narcissist in your mind, not physically, because the narcissist is in your mind. And because you have developed a very symbiotic relationship with the narcissist, and you need to unplug. And then you need to individuate. You need to become you again. And the narcissist regressed you to an early stage. Narcissist made you a baby. He was your mother. You became a baby. And so you need to grow up again. You need to retrace everything from age 2. You have a lot of work to do. You can't go around saving other people. You are not saved. You're not saved. You know the famous metaphor, when you're in a crashing plane, I mean, first put the oxygen mask on you,
Yes.
and then take care of your kids. First put the oxygen mask on your face. Take a few gulps, recover, and then take care of your kids.
That was a clip from my interview with Sam Vaknin. Watch the full episode using the link in the description or the box on the screen.
The preacher said it absolved him.
For him, not for the law. Surprised you, Pete. I gave you credit for more brains than Delmer.
But they was witnesses seen us redeemed.
That's not the issue, Delmer. Even if it did put you square with the Lord, the state of Mississippi's a little more hard-nosed.
You should have joined us, Everett. It couldn't have hurt none.
Hell, at least it would have washed away the stink of that pomade.
Join you two ignorant fools in a ridiculous superstition, thank you anyway, and I like the smell of my hair treatment. The pleasing odor's half the point. Baptism. You two are just dumber than a bag of hammers. Well, I guess you just might cross the bear.
Pull over, Everett. Let's give that colored boy a lift.
You folks going past Tishomingo?
Sure, hop in.
How you doing, son? Name's Everett. These two soggy sons of bitches are Pete and Delmer. Keep your fingers away from Pete's mouth. He ain't had nothing to eat for 13 years except prison food, gopher, and a little greasy horse.
Thanks for the lift, sir. My name's Tommy. Tommy Johnson.
How you doing, Tommy? Say, I haven't seen a house out here for miles. What are you doing out in the middle of nowhere?
Well, I had to be at that there crossroads last midnight. Sell my soul to the devil.
Well, ain't it a small world, spiritually speaking? Pete and Delmer just been baptized and saved. I guess I'm the only one that remains unaffiliated.
This ain't no laughing matter, Everett.
What'd the devil give you for your soul, Tommy?
Well, they taught me to play this here guitar real good.
Oh, son. For that, you traded your everlasting soul?
Well, I wouldn't use me.
I've always wondered, what's the devil look like?
Well, of course, there are all manner of lesser imps and demons, Pete, but the great Satan himself is red and scaly with a bifurcated tail, and he carries a hay fork.
Oh, no. No, sir. He's white. As white as you folks. With empty eyes and a big, hollow voice. He loved to travel around with a mean old hound. That's right.
And he told you to go to Tishomingo?
Well, no, sir. Well, that was my idea. I heard there's a man down there. He pays folks money singing to his can. They say he pays an extra if you play real good.
Fisher Minga, huh? How much he pay?